Friday the 15th, a very, very big day, a culmination actually of several of the ideas that we've been expressing on this channel for, it's got to be around a month or even over a month. I've been having this massive thread of analysis kind of coalescing into this major date. So with that in mind, I want to have a little bit of a bigger video today. This is one that, you know, I would humbly request that if you do find it valuable, maybe consider liking, maybe even consider subscribing, maybe even consider sharing it as well. Other than that, I'm going to welcome you back to the Krown Crypto channel. And yes, it is indeed September 15th. Why is that important? It's because that is a quad witching date, which as we're going to go through and combine all the ideas that we've been looking at for the past month and a half now, are starting to paint a very interesting picture. So I just want to remind the people who have been on this channel for a while now that, you know, it's been operating very slow. It's been very boring, but important things have happened. And if you can, retain your patience during these times, it can be incredibly valuable, potentially. I mean, obviously, we don't necessarily have the results just yet, but things are moving in the background. Other than that, I want to once again remind myself to talk about the Discord, as I've once again reactivated the Discord link in the description below, also in the first comment as well. So if you're looking to join a community of traders and just shit talkers, having a good old time and passing the time, you're more than welcome to join, of course. A lot of good guys in there, a lot of funny guys, and of course, some good conversations, and it is 100% free as well. All right, sweet. Let me just combine my notes over here. All right, we are good to go. Let's first things first start it off with a continuation of yesterday's analysis. So I put out this chart here, both on YouTube, both on Twitter, and this is just marking off all the quad witching dates that we've seen over the past 3 years. Yeah, we can make it, further than that, but I think that this kind of gets across the point. We have more important things to be getting onto today. But what are we essentially looking at? Well, we're looking at those quad witching dates, and as you can see on the chart, especially if I put it to a line chart, we can see that this has marked off major reversals within the market for the past few years. In fact, all of them have been reversals except for one that would be way back on over here in December of 2020. This was a continuation play, obviously, but everything else has marked off a pretty significant reversal, whether it be from, downtrend to uptrend or uptrend to downtrend. I'm not making a comment on that. That was like hilariously misheard on Twitter yesterday. I don't know, maybe I'm just overestimating it, but it's like I posted this chart and people are like, what the fuck, man? It's 50-50. It's bullish. No, it's bearish. It's like, no, it's a reversal. It's reversal. Calm down. Calm down. But I do think that the majority of people got it's just, loud people, whatever. Anyways, more onto the topic right here. Here's the thing. As we have seen pretty much all of these big reversal points over the past few years, we can, well, be looking at this current move as it has been a downside move basically since the last quad witching date, which was in the middle of June, which did reverse from upside to downside. And well, if we're going to see reversal, I mean, it would have to imply upside in this case. Now, of course, we also do have stats on the quad witching date in September specifically for Bitcoin to the end of the month. So I've actually gone through all of them. I've gone through all of them throughout the full history of Bitcoin, of which there are 13, I believe, or sorry, 12 or I can't do my math, but 12, I believe. And of those 12, 10 have provided either a positive gain from that quad witching date to the end of the month, or basically neutral. In fact, a lot of them were like very minimal here. For the past couple of years, we saw 3.25% and 145 and spot 0.02% respectively. Yeah, there's a few outliers here and there. Obviously, 2019 we did see almost a 19% gainer. But what's also interesting about this is that 8 of the past Septembers from that quad witching date to the end of the month were all positive, or at least, basically zero. Like, I mean, 0.02% is, might as well be zero, right? So again, we do see stats on this showing that the average return was about 5.25%. It's not a guarantee, obviously, but just playing around with numbers right here. Let's say that Bitcoin does basically close the month about 5% up from where we currently are at. Well, where would that put Bitcoin? That would put Bitcoin at about just above 27,000 bucks, which is what I did say earlier this month is kind of the highest price that I do think that Bitcoin may get to in September. Doesn't mean that it can't continue in October. It's just, September, I suspect, is going to be marginal at best to the upside. And realistically, the big risk was to the downside in the first portion of the month. And now that we're at the 15th of September, I'm more inclined to say that things are more likely to trade to the upside upside from here, just given the stats, obviously. Now, moving on from there, I do want to combine another one of the long-term ideas that we looked at on this channel. This one came in view in late August or mid to late August, and it's a hash ribbons indicator right here. I got laughed at a lot for this, as I typically do, but more often than not, it does work. And so I'm just going to continue using it until I really start to see a divergence between the efficacy of this and, well, and not, it not actually working. So in this case, the hash ribbons indicator has a very interesting interplay with Bitcoin price action. And by the way, yes, before I get tagged with a lot of this, I'm aware that a lot of other YouTubers and Twitter people copy this analysis here. Whatever. There's nothing I can do about it, and it doesn't fucking matter anyways. I appreciate that some people make an effort to, point it out and whatnot. But at the end of the day, it's like, what can you do, right? Just enjoy it, I guess. So in this case, the interplay that I'm specifically talking about is the blue buy signal on the hash ribbons indicator. Now, the hash ribbons indicator is a more fundamentally based indicator, in contrast to what we just looked at with the quad witching days, which is more of like a seasonal / statistical analysis. This is more of a fundamental analysis measuring the miner's profitability. And there's two components of this indicator that we want to be aware of: the capitulation phase that you see right here, and then that blue buy signal. Specifically that blue buy signal, because anytime that we have seen that blue buy signal over the full history of Bitcoin, which there have been 15, 13 of those have actually printed or have actually marked off that the prior low to that blue buy signal was the low before Bitcoin never revisited that area ever again, below it on a closing basis. So yes, you can see wicks below that region, completely fine, but on a closing basis, no. So for example, we do have this one, or we have a few over here, obviously. You get the blue buy signal. Where's your last major low before that? I mean, you could also say this as well for the 5-day, but obviously Bitcoin, never comes back down and closes below that level ever again. Same thing over here, blue buy signal. Where's your past major low? Right here. Bitcoin, again, it does come down around there on a wick basis, yes, but no closures below there. More importantly, same thing over here in December of 2020. Again, where's your prior low to that? Right here, and upwards and onwards. Bitcoin never revisits that area ever again. And of course, like I did say, it has failed 2 times. One of the times was actually coming off of the Rona dump over here. Blue buy signal printed, boom, where's your prior low? Right there. Obviously, Bitcoin did close below that level significantly. So that did obviously happen. And then yet again, it happened in 2021. By the way, I should denote that this first did produce about a 50% rally. So it's like kind of significant, I would say. And then you got 2021 over here, printed a blue buy signal. Where's your prior low? Right here. Bitcoin goes on to new all-time highs for a 60% move in this case. But yeah, later on in that year, it certainly does close below, and then Bitcoin catastrophically falls. You might even say that that's a black swan with FTX, Luna, blah, 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 whatever. It's not 100%, but it is interesting. Anyways, the reason why I bring this one up is because we did see the blue buy signal print over here in, actually this was early August. And where's the prior major low before that? It would be right here in early June, basically. And what do you know? Bitcoin has come down to that level, grinded out a little bit, but no closures below yet. No closures below yet. So as long as that condition is available, putting 2 and 2 together, I would say that this is kind of a nice pivot on price action. That also implies if we see Bitcoin close below this prior low, very likely in for a world of hurt for the boo laws, at least. Very, very likely. But for right now, okay, so far so good. Anyways, moving on to the next thing, another major long-term idea that we've been looking at on this channel several times in the past couple years now is the 5-day volatility versus stochastic momentum signature. So this again is in reference to a setup that is first focused on volatility, represented by the BBWP indicator right here. Anytime that it gets down to extreme lows, which I kind of define as around 15 percentile or lower, the expansion phase that naturally follows from that's mathematically programmed from that, basically, has led to an average move over the full history of Bitcoin of about 40%, with a standard deviation of about 7, and the average amount of days it takes to reach its next major high or low is about 37 days almost. And then the direction of the stochastic also has had a high probability, or sorry, a high correlation for the move to be in that direction. And in this case, it has been down this whole way. That's why we've been saying on this channel, as Bitcoin kind of just sits at this region without having any continuation, it's spinning its wheels. It's going to have a bullish reset over time if it fails to move further down. And what do you know? The current 5-day pivot is actually at 26,200, which Bitcoin's trading a little bit above right now. If we go over here to Bybit, I think it's also worth discussing that, you know, this one is actually still even respecting the trend line that has been holding the lows since June of 2022. You know, these were not obviously like all-time lows, but major lows right here again before big rallies, right here again on, you know, the current cycle low, and then right here again before a pretty massive pump. So, you know, does Bitcoin get another bounce yet again off this region? Well, as of right now, it's decently above there. It does have another, you know, 2 days left trading to go before that's solidified. But for right now, it does look like a strong possibility. Now, you're probably going to be saying, but Krown, don't we already see volatility expanding alongside this? And it was pointed to the downside. Yes. So that would mean that this would be a failure downside signal, actually. And guess what? We got stats on that too. Which I'm actually very happy about. I'm glad that I recorded it in this fashion. I didn't plan for this in the past, but over here, when we go to the 5-day vol short, we can see that there's been 10 prior signals throughout like this throughout Bitcoin's full history. 8 of those have worked out with major downside. That means, you know, we do have about a 20% failure rate. It looks like it's, you know, potentially going to go up here as well. So what was the average loss for these ones? Well, let's see. We can see, actually, I don't necessarily have it in here that well. We can see it's about 25 days. Yeah, about 20-ish days. Yeah, 20 days for this one to reach that next major area. And the percentage loss was in like the mid to low 20s both times, we can see right here. So about 26% versus 22%, you know, an average of, let's say, like 23 or so. So, you know, if we were to apply that from the current potential low here, what would that look like on top of current price action? Well, 20% would put Bitcoin back at around 31,500 or so. Obviously, that is a big pivot point for Bitcoin. If Bitcoin can start to close higher term timeframes above that 31,500 region, we can see this one rally significantly into the deep 30,000s. You know, at that point, I think 38,000 is probably on the cards. But you know, one before the next, obviously, and you know, this is going to take its time, of course, here. Anyways, those were the 3 main ideas I wanted to relate to each other, coming at it from significantly different angles, significantly different statistics, but all starting to kind of coalesce for that same sort of timing. And again, this one going to be closing in a couple days, so by Monday we'll have that next take. If Bitcoin's still trading above 26,200, I'm going to look at all of these as, you know, a high probability of Bitcoin putting in a major low right here and trying again to the upside. Now we can take this, we can go into the lower term timeframes as well. Made a tweet about this earlier today, just the 4-hour HPDR range. We spoke about yesterday how it did have a nice shift up. Bitcoin's still getting rejected at the top side of it. Nothing really new to update here, but just wanted to show that statistics still working rather well. We can see that the top side of the range is now at about 26,850. Bottom side of the range is about 25,550. Average range is 26,200 or so, meaning that, you know, we don't really have anything significantly new to be looking at in the short term, as long as Bitcoin is below 26,850, or as long as it's above 25,550. And of course, 25,550 is a big, you know, is a big number right there. If Bitcoin does start to lose that level, if Bitcoin starts to close below there, more importantly, that's at the point where all of this gets thrown. It's not that it all gets thrown out the window, but we start to look at the downside statistics and start to apply that, and that's going to start to look pretty fucking ugly. So, you know, as we do head into the later portion of September here, a lot of things starting to, you know, rear their head. It seems like, you know, there's maybe a little bit more interest in this market right now, which is cool, but at the end of the day, it's still quiet times overall. So if you're still sticking around during these times, you know, this is actually where you do see a lot of pretty impressive stuff. So hopefully, yeah, hopefully you have something new to talk about. Maybe not tomorrow, but probably Monday, as we get our weekly closures for CME today, and then we'll reanalysize that. So other than that, I want to be wishing you the best as always. Take care, much love, and see you hopefully tomorrow.